Okay. All right. So shall I go ahead?
Yes, yes.
Okay, perfect. All right. Hello everyone. This is Vishal. So I'll just share my screen. So I'm filling in for Patrudu. So he had some other meeting, so he could not join. So I'm getting this opportunity to present the session on Maestro. So I am also a 3 times MVP. This is my LinkedIn QR code. If you want to connect with me, feel free to connect with me. Uh, I've been working in UiPath since some time now. My main interest has been in blogging. I write blogs. I have few blogs published on the community website as well. And so yeah, let's start. All right, so we'll start on Maestro today. So it's not very slide heavy. I just have 2, 3 slides. Mostly it's hands-on. So we'll just talk about what is the basics of BPMN because Maestro is built on BPMN. Then master capability, example scenarios, and demo. So demo is not at the last, don't worry. It's at the beginning actually, kind of. So what does Maestro allow us to do? It allows us to orchestrate agents, robots, and people to exceed business outcomes. So instead of going through all of this, we'll directly jump into uh, the hands-on. So first and foremost, certain basic things. If you want to just try out so basically what we do is we create the business process flow here in Maestro. And this is based on business process modeling notation, that is BPMN. So this is not something new. It has been there since some time now. So what it allows you to do is as a business user, the business does not need to know about the technicalities of the solution. They just need to know the solution, right? They just have the flow. So what they can do is they or anyone for now, anyone who has a browser, they can just go to bpmn and uipath.com and they can directly come here and do some modeling, whatever modeling they want to do, like the flow, your entire flow. There are some certain notations which you need to take care of. Like it starts with this is the start event, and then you have if you have certain task, you put a task. If you have some decision, you have a gateway component and so on. So basically what you do is you'll pull your components and then you'll connect them logically. So this one is an exclusive gateway. It's like if else, if true, then go to this flow, false, then go to another flow and so on. So what the business can do is they can design their flow here and then they can give it to the implementation team, and the implementation team can then go and put the backend logic for each of these steps. So as a business person, they do not need to worry about what is there in the underlying logic. They need to give the entire flow. So this is a simple flow which we can develop here. And for this, you don't even need any access, things like that. This is free for all. This is the first thing. But only thing is here you cannot definitely do the modeling. You cannot write the logic and so on. So that's why we have Maestro. So now let's go to Maestro. So just like other services, I'm going to use the staging, but just like other services, the Maestro should be added to your tenant. If not, you can add like other services, and it starts with the name Maestro. So once you come here, you'll land onto this page. On this page, what you'll see is you'll see home, process instances, and incidents. We'll see this later. And just to start modeling, you just have to click on this banner, start modeling, and it brings up a canvas similar to what we were seeing here, the BPM, and this something similar here you'll see here as well. So let's see. And it's a little slow. Okay, yeah, it's come. Probably I was impatient. So I just hit a refresh. Okay. So, all right. So basically, again, just like the other canvas, it starts with the start event here, and then you can start and add different steps that you want. So suppose I add a task. So task in itself is any activity which I want to do. So here, underlying task can be anything. I can start a RPA workflow. I can start an agent, external agent. Now we also are having API workflows, which is in preview and so on. You can have a business rule, again, that's in preview. So you can see there are a lot of things which you can do underline. So this might say that do step ABC, right? But what step ABC will do is you might be having a workflow which is fulfilling that. You might have an agent which might be doing it. And tomorrow, if you have a workflow, but tomorrow if you want to change and if you want to replace it with an agent, then also it's possible, right? Because you just have to change the underlying action. So underlying action for the task, your business process will remain the same, but your action can change and so on. So that's how you will do it. One important thing was the gateway. We talked about it. Gateway, again, there are different types. One is the exclusive gateway. It's like an if else condition. You have either true or false or like a boolean. And then if you want to have other options, oh, sorry, not here. But if you click here and then this, whatever element you click on this canvas over top, you'll have this standard options. You start with this is like shortcuts, and then you have an option of change element. So for gateway, there are multiple options. Gateway, you have exclusive gateway, which was if else. Inclusive gateway means both the flows are included. Then you have parallel gateway, means if you have branching from here, you have flow A, B, C, and all of them should go together, then you'll use a parallel gateway. You can have an event-based gateway as well. So suppose an email notification or any external event is occurring, you want the flow to be triggered, so to be executed. So that is an event gateway. And complex gateway is a way where you have like 2 out of 3 conditions or 4 out of 6 conditions and so on. You want certain complicated logic, that way you can use complex gateway. So there are multiple options over here for the gateway. Similarly, there are other, as I shown you, there are tasks. For each task, suppose if I'm calling a RPA workflow, and if I have certain, then I can come and select the automation. So whatever is deployed on my tenant, I'm able to see here, and I can select my relevant workflow. And then I can also, oops, sorry, I came out. So once I've selected the workflow, then I can give the, suppose my input and output arguments and so on. So just like just like your normal process when you are deploying, and you might have an arguments which are part of the process, the same thing you can give from here as well. So that is possible. And one interesting aspect of it is, suppose you are completely new and you don't know how to do it, and you want to take some help. So autopilot comes to a rescue here as well. So let's see that. Let me clear this. Okay, so if you see right here, let's see it in the, this is in staging, but earlier that autopilot icon used to come here, but now it's over here because I think you also have certain validation. So I just removed this. Suppose I remove the start event itself, so that's why it's having validation issues. It's saying missing an event. Basically, any flow will have the minimum start and end events, and if you don't put an end event, it will give an error. So suppose if I'm just doing a connect of start and end, so see my validation issues have gone. So basically any errors will come here. But what used to happen is, I think it used to uh, cover the autopilot prompt. So that's why it's coming here in staging. I think in the real world, real enterprise also it will come here. But so this is the open autopilot. So here there are certain predefined templates, like if you can see here, purchase to play, order to cash, invoice processing. What we'll do is we'll give a prompt and let autopilot design a flow. So I'll say create so instead of purchase to pay, I'll say create a procure to purchase. So what I've told autopilot is I want to create a workflow, but I am not sure. So I'm taking help from the autopilot. I'm saying just create a procure to purchase business flow. And it's a simple prompt. You can give as elaborate prompt as you want. And autopilot is used in almost all the features in UiPath. So yeah. So if there are any questions, okay. All right. So now what autopilot is doing is it is interpreting my prompt, and it will give me, it will create a flow into, it will create the flow. Actually, I have this start and end event, so probably that is messing it up. So one second, let me delete this first. So I'll reject it for now. Let me start from the beginning. Okay. Okay. So let's do it once more. Okay, while it's generating, I'll talk about the different options. So here, this is the Project Explorer. So in the Project Explorer, you'll have the agentic process and you have the single BPMN file. Within one process, you have one BPMN file. You can have multiple agentic processes, but within one process, as of now, you can have only one BPMN file. So basically, this flow what we are generating, it is part of a .bpmn file. Okay. Then issues panel, which was here, it can be opened from here as well. And this is the change history of what all things were done, right? So that is okay. So autopilot has created a flow for me. I'm okay with it. So I'll say accept. Okay. So it created a flow for me. And we'll talk about this flow. I'll just go ahead with the panels first. This is the properties panel. So each of the flow step which I create, the properties, as soon as I click on this step, it will automatically uh, open the properties panel. But just in case it's not there, I can just click on this properties panel and it can come basically. Okay. And the run output, once we run the process, it will show the run output here. So I'm not monitoring the chat, but in case there are any questions, feel free to stop. So let's start. Okay, so this is my flow. As you can see, the BPMN flow is generated. Here, what it has done is it's not only created a flow, it's also created lanes for me. So this is a requester. So it's like a swim lane. The requester is supposed to do this step. Then they think this is a procurement officer. So my purchase, so what this process is doing is, I suppose want to purchase something for my organization, maybe it's stationery, be it office supplies and so on, right? So what is the process which will usually be followed will be something like this. There'll be a requisition or a request raised, right? It's not like a single person. So that's why it has to go through multiple steps. So a requisition or a step for the requirement for a for any office items or anything can be done through the requisition. It will be reviewed. Is it worth it or is it within the budget? So then it is approved. Then after the requisition, the purchase order gets created, and then you select the vendor, send to PM. We don't need to go into the details of it, but this is the entire flow which the Maestro, the autopilot already created for me. So now what we'll do is I'll just quickly show you some quick things. So if I right click on the start node, there's an option of simulate. Simulate will just show me visually how the flow will proceed. Okay. So it's not running it underlying because there's no logic as such, but it's just the flow. So suppose I just want to see how the flow will go ahead. This is a decision component. So here I can switch the path as well depending on my requirement. Suppose now this is highlighted. So let me run it again, restart simulation. Okay. So now I switched path. Last time it had gone in this no path. Now I'll go into the yes path and so on. I mean, I can do whatever I want just to simulate and see how things will look in the real world. Okay. This is just a simulation. So visually you can see things here. So let me stop this. The other thing is you can test the flow as well. Of course, here, let me exit from here. Of course, if I'm testing it, I have not written any underlying logic. It's similar to simulation, but if I have given some underlying logic, then it will do the actual testing. So instead of just running it like this, let's start to give some logic here. So as I was saying, if I click on this, any of the steps, then ideally the properties panel comes, but sometimes it doesn't come. So that's why I have to click on this properties panel. And here I'm going to keep given RPA workflow as an underlying step for this particular step. Okay, so I'll say RPA workflow. So I already have a RPA workflow deployed on my orchestrator. So I'm going to take that. Okay. And what I've done is to see as a simulation, what I've done is I will be passing it. If I pass a true, it throws me an error because I'm going to show you how if the flow fails in how the error is reported and how we can rectify and things like that. Okay. So I'm sending it as true. So what is exactly going to happen is my RPA workflow is going to throw me an exception. So we are starting with the negative case, and we'll then fix it basically. Okay. So let me test it. I'm not going to put the logic for the other steps because we are just testing this one step and we'll get an idea. Similarly, we can do for other steps as well. Okay. So now what I'm doing is at the design time, I'm doing the testing, and as we already saw, as we already were expecting, I am getting an error. So my RPA workflow has thrown an error. So when it's throwing an error, this is shown to me visually as well, and I can see here um, the error which is thrown from the orchestrator. Okay, and underline incident which is also created for that. Okay, so this is fine. This is what we were expecting, and if I want to correct it, I will simply pass it as true, and that will work. Okay, so let's do it as well. So if I come here, but rather than doing that, let's do something interesting. We'll deploy this process to the orchestrator and then see it at runtime, and then we'll fix it at runtime, because that's more interesting aspect, because this is at the design time, this is fine, but let's do it at runtime. So before I do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to rename this, because this is the default name, and what I have to do is just right click, rename. Oops, I pressed too hard, 1 second. Okay, so I have named it as demo maestro. Similarly, my bpmm file also I can rename whatever I want to do. So say I'd say process1.bpm. Okay, and there is a issues panel. Let's see what's the problem. Gateway is superfluous. Oh, I think I deleted the no branch. I think there's a yes and there's a no branch. So let's remove this altogether, because for the purpose of the demo, we are just going to concentrate on this one step. Okay. And this is my, oh, my RPA implementation also went for a toss. Let me put it once more. Just hold on. Okay, so I'll say true. Just to check if things are okay, I'll just check here, and I should get an error. Okay, all right, yeah, I got an error. So now what we'll do is we'll deploy this process to orchestrator. So, oh yeah, before I deploy it, there's one more thing I wanted to show. So just like in the, there's also an option to, if you want to do a step-by-step process, you can add debug as, you can debug this one by one. So let's do that as well. So instead of doing test, we'll do test step by step. So I'll click. So here, as the name suggests, it'll execute one step at a time. And if you want to add breakpoints, you just add a breakpoint here. As soon as you click test step by step, this canvas gets enabled, and this, when you hover over it, if I see, if I'm hovering over that step, there's that red dot which comes. So I can come and I can say yes, I'll just click it, and then it gets enabled. If I want to remove it, I just click on the dot and it gets removed again. So as simple as that. And then I can do this next step. So if I want to do step by step kind of flow check, I can do it as well. So here obviously it's going to fail now. Okay, so that's how you can add breakpoints. And of course I did a uh, step by step test, but in the real world I can also put a breakpoint and run and things like that. Okay, all right, so now let's do one thing. Now we are going to deploy this. And before I deploy, there was one more thing I wanted to show. Yeah. So just like in a normal RPA process, it's a good practice to add annotations. So here also there's an option of annotations. Here it is, add text. So if you want to give more information of your steps, you can come here and say add annotation. So this step is failed, is calling an RPA process to simulate error. Okay. So of course, if your diagram of, if your flow is too complicated, you might not be able to add it. You just have to adjust. You can drag and drop and things like that. So that's all adjustable. Oops. So, but this is how you add the annotations. For each step, you can add annotations. It's very simple. From here, you can add it. Okay. And this panel comes as soon as you click on each of the steps, because from each of the steps, there's an option to always change element, add end event, and so on. This is add task, add intermediate event, annotation we just saw, you can delete, and then this connect. So each of the steps is connected with each other with these arrows. Okay, I think we have done the basic stuff. So let's now do and publish it. Again, so now to publish it, you have two options. You can publish it to your personal workspace feed, in which case the only difference is it will automatically get enabled and you can see the process. And if you deploy onto any other folders, then you have to add that process just like you add any normal RPA process. So the process is the same. So this is quicker, and for the purpose of the demo, I'm going to deploy it because this does not require anything. This one, I'll just show you what I'm doing. So I have created a separate folder for Maestro, and I'm going to deploy here. Okay, that's it. It gets deployed, it's published. So now let's go to Orchestrator. Okay, so I'll go to the Maestro folder and I'm going to add my new process. So I'll say add process. The package the process we deployed was demo Maestro. So that's visible here. It says agentic process. And if you can see here, it, it automatically takes an entry point, which is a .bpm and entry point. It knows that this is the Maestro process. Next, and I'm not going to change the display name. Okay, so this how just like a normal RPA process, this how you deploy your Maestro process flow, and I'll just say start now. I don't need to do any kind of provisioning because this is on the cloud VM. I just need to just say start. So the underlying machine and everything is handled automatically. So I do not need to worry about that. So here, as we were expecting, the Maestro agentic process is called an RPA process, and RPA process I have simulated it to throw an error, so it has failed. Here, this is a suggestion I have given to the product team. It shows as running. The reason for that is you can do multiple retries. So what I don't know what UiPath will take decision, but here it shows running. But what you can do is you can click here. It opens this pop-up, and then from here you can go to Maestro. Okay, and from here what you can do is it'll again show you the problem or the error, just like what we were seeing at the design view, right? Similarly, we'll see it here. But this time what we'll do is it has the option of see migrate, retry, and so on. If I retry, it's anyways going to fail, so I know it's not going to work. But just to show some things, I'm going to do something. So suppose I want to say PO number, I'm just changing some value in the beginning, some variable value, right? Then I have an option to update variables here. So I updated, suppose this is expecting some PO number, it was null, I just updated to 123, and I can update it at runtime, say update one variable. It will say, it will show me what I've changed. So instead of null, I've changed, I put it as 123. I can put in my comment and I'll say update variables. So whatever actions I take over here, it will get recorded here, and see it will not give me that entire detail, but it'll say that some things have changed and it'll give me a detail about that. So now how do we fix this process? Think any questions? Okay, all right. So now how do we fix this? We know that our process is failing and we want to fix it. So what we'll do is now we are going to fix this problem, and after fixing this problem, this failed instance we will retry. So this is the good feature here. If you have a process, suppose you have a process, suppose it's calling Salesforce or it is calling some backend system, and you have certain instances which have failed. Normally what will happen is if something is wrong, then you will have to ask the source team or you'll have to resend the transactions. But suppose this is a long running process, right? This process, maybe it has spanned multiple steps, and suppose instead of this failure, it has failed here. Okay. So ideally, I do not need to run this earlier steps. Okay. If I run it again, it will work, but ideally I should not be running it again. And suppose it's a DML operation, suppose it has created some entry in the database. And if I'm running it again, then obviously this step will start failing because that entry is already created. So now what we'll do is we will fix the process and then do a migrate and then do a retry. So the beauty of this process is when we do a retry, it will start from the failed step. In this process, we have the first step, but this might be any other step. It might be in this step, it might be the last step in your process as well. So what Maestro will do is it will allow you to do a retry, and it will continue the execution from the step which it has failed at the last. So let's fix it, and that's the interesting part. So oops, yeah. So for fixing it, basically I'm going again to Maestro. You can go to Maestro, or as soon as you click here, it's actually going to Studio. You can go to the Studio web as well. And what we are going to do is I'm going to fix it. So instead of my process, okay, I opened it here. So I am, because it's on the browser, it's warning me that I already have it open somewhere. So I'm opening it here. Okay. All right. So now what we are going to do is we are going to fix the code. In the code, what we are going to do is it's not, I'm going to now just simply say false. Okay. So my RPA process will not throw me an error. I'm showing it. But in the real world, you might have some of your process which has failed and you are fixing it and things like that, right? So in the real world, you might not even need to republish. You might just publish the updated process, and then you can fix it as well. But for the purpose of the demo, I'm fixing this. I'm changing this parameter to false. I'm going to republish. Okay. So just like a normal process, we'll have to come here. Okay. And demo maestro. So this is updated. That's why I'm getting that option to upgrade. So I'll upgrade this. Confirm. And now let's run this again. And this time we are not expecting an error. Okay. So let's see. Okay, my process is started. This should not fail this time. So it has succeeded. And so now let's see, come here. And let's go to Maestro. Okay. I'm just in between seeing if there's anything in the chat, but yeah. Okay, so see, this process is run successfully. So basically we fixed the underlying issue. So now let's see what we can do to fix the old instance, because that was the one which had failed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click here in the process. Now it's showing me the instances which I've already run. So see, this one is the fixed one, 101. This is the old one which is the problem. So I'll click here and I can see that, yeah, this had failed. The same thing which we had seen. So let me zoom in a bit. I can zoom in from here. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to migrate this version to 101. I'm going to do a runtime migration, and my runtime instance I'll re-trigger from here. So I'm migrating from 100 to 101 because this is the fixed code. Okay. Optional comment. So I'll just say and migrate instance. Okay. Okay, so once this is migrated, now is the interesting part. So as I was saying, in the real world, you don't need to do much. And suppose you have multiple failures, and if it is at the step and you don't want to run the earlier step. So right, so once it is migrated, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a retry. Again, an optional comment. It will restart activities from the last step, and here it will, it's actually this is the first step. That's why it's showing from here. But ideally, if it is some other step will show. So now see, this is fixed. So if I go, so now this is fixed and it's running. So now if I come here and see, both my instances have run successfully. This statistic on the top also gets updated in a while. But basically, add if you had seen, I had this failed instance. Now both of them are on 101 and it is fixed. So this is the interesting part of Maestro. You can fix instances at runtime. And then you can go to monitoring tab and see things. So this is, I've just run it once. So basically let me open some other process. So yeah, now let's talk about this. So basically when you run the processes, this is the dashboard which you can see. This is like similar to the task mining, process mining, and insights, basically insights dashboards. So you get more details of your processes, how many instances have been created, how many success and failures, and so on. So things like that you can come and see here. And you get entire statistics from here, like what are processes you are deployed, what are running, completed, faulted, and so on. Okay. And you can go again into detail of each of this. So this was the one which we were uh, this is the other one, sorry, the earlier one which we created was demo Maestro, but yeah, basically. And if I want to go dig deeper, so suppose this has one faulted, obviously this is just one, so this is the one which is faulted. Okay. And if I go back, so basically from process instances you get the details of all your processes and the failures and things like that. Okay. And oops, I clicked the one thing. let me let me go back. Okay. So procure to pay, this process has the maximum instances. So let me open this. Okay. Okay. So here it has actually 43 instances. So I can go and check each of them. I can come here and see the flow, what happened in this flow and things like that. Okay. It is good. So I can drill down further. Then if I go to within here also, I can go to the monitoring, and I can see here again incidents per week, completed instances. So basically if you're familiar with insights dashboard, this is similar. Within insights also you have similar features where you can monitor your RPA processes. Same tool is available over here. Same thing, like top 10 faulted. You can also like have this top 10 active instances, and you also have this bell icon if you see here. So suppose you want email notifications. Again, this is a same feature from insights. You want an email notification whenever there's a failure, you can simply give your email address here and it'll send you the email as well. So you don't need to come here over and over again. So that's what you can do. And you can manage these alerts in Insights. So this is a plugin directly to Insights basically. Of course, to see this, you should also have the Insights license, I think, for the seeing all of this. And if I go to optimize, this is like that process mining plugin. Here it will show you the steps which are failing for you and where there are things which is possible for improvement. For this, I think you need that process mining license as well. So this again, this many traces, so this many instance, this step is executed the maximum time, then depending on the branching, this number will reduce, right? Every time I run, this event has to get executed. Then depending on my flow, it may go into this flow, other flow, and so on, right? And so here it will give me details on how I can improve my process. So I have mostly created the failure here. So that's why it's saying that this flow is having more failure. So it's, if I come here, so it's saying it tends to have high amount of rework on an average it's executed. So here, if I click here, it will then take me to the process mining dashboard. So basically both the task mining and process mining kind of dashboards, or the insights and the process mining dashboards are kind of plugged in together on this. Okay. So it's taking a bit to log in, but yeah. All right. So yeah, the same flow is opened here, and then I can see visually things, my entire process, and it'll give me suggestions for improvement and things like this. The entire process mining dashboard. So I kind of navigated over there. Okay. All right. So let's go back. Okay. So we went through process instances inside, and process incidents are when there are failures. Then it used to show me that process incident log, right? So that is what is available here. So here it will show me top 10 faulted elements, kind of where it is failing, and the processes where it is failing, the count and stuff like that. So most other things I can see here. Okay, all right. So are there any questions till now? Okay, Vijay has a question. I'll take some questions. I think there's only one question. Does Maestro warn if a new version of the package is available for update? Okay, the first question from Vijay is, if there is a new version available, will Maestro warn? So it's like in the process underline in Orchestrator, you have um, that arrow, right, which says that it is available for upgrade. But in case of Maestro, because there are multiple steps in between, it will not, I don't think it gives that kind of warning. You will have to do it manually. Okay. The next question is, can I include long running workflows in Maestro if the process waits for a human intervention? Will Maestro wait? Yes. Yes, that is the purpose of Maestro. It is meant to have, you can have long running workflows as well. And that's why they have this ability of retry and things like that, so that you don't need to do the, so you can have human in the loop, you can have queues, you can have multiple options basically, as we were seeing in the screen. So if I go back, I'll show you. Let's open this. Okay, so for any of the steps we can see. Okay, so this is the flow which we had developed, right? So I can zoom it and zoom out a bit as well. So let me remove the properties panel, come here, and then come back to the properties. And here, so we, for the demo, we did this RPA workflow. You can have, suppose, an app task, okay? You can have human in the loop, like you can create a app task, means it will go to the action center. The human may, the person may come and do an approval, and but then you can have an exclusive gateway based on the approval, do this and so on. Another interesting thing is a timer activity also. You can, instead of wait, just like we have wait activity on an RPA process, I can have a timer activity. So let me show you that. I forgot to mention that. So suppose, let me add here. So, okay, so let me come from here and I'll say I want to add, suppose, let me not mess up this. Let me do it in another flow. It's better. So let me do a create agentic process. Okay, so we'll not use this. Oh yeah, by the way, suppose you have a VPN workflow, you can download and upload it as well. So suppose we were talking, right? A business user is creating a workflow and then you want to, they don't need to worry about the underlying logic. So this entire thing you can export and import. So let me show you that. It's very simple but interesting as well. So suppose, yeah. So this flow which we developed, right? So let me edit here. So this flow I can download and import as well. So I can say I want to share. This is like sharing through email, but if I want to download, I think I have to come here. Let me come back out. There's an option to download. Okay. So from here I can download, and similarly, if I want to upload, I can upload as well from like this import. So that's another option. Okay. So let's go back here. Okay. So that's the pop-up which is coming here. We don't want to use this. Okay, so I'm coming to the start event, and sometimes this creates this messes up kind of. If you see, it's giving me option 2, but I don't want to add something. So I'll simply add a task, and then what I'll do is from the task, I will click on it. I'll get this panel, and I'll say change element, and I will say, I think there was the option for timer as well. Sorry. Timer, it's not coming. 1 second. It used to come from here, but never mind. Just like you have an wait activity, similarly you have the timer activity over here as well. I don't know, somehow I'm not finding it, but it's there as well. there any other question? No. Okay, so let's now go back to the PPT and see what we have. So now that you have the context, the PPT will make sense. And anyway, it's not very heavy, so just 2-3 slides. Okay, so orchestrate. So what Maestro definition is, like, it orchestrates agents, robots, and people to exceed. So basically, as we saw, you can have the robots like your RPA process, you can have underlying agents, and you can also have people. All of them collaborate and contribute to this workflow. And basically, it can work for long learning workflows as well. Okay. Okay, so now this will make sense. Model, what we did was model, we designed on the canvas, like you first model it, then you implement it, means like we have modeling is done generally done by the business folks. Then the implementation will be done by the development team, where they will put the underlying logic. So they'll have that, like suppose RPA process, they might have an agent and things like that. So each of the steps, the underlying logic is done through this implement step. Operate, and then you run the process. So that is the operate. You can control instances. We did that as well, right? We did a retry, we changed the values at runtime and things like that. And you also have analytics of your processes and things like that. So this next monitor and optimize is what we saw, the process incidents, and you get an insight on how things are uh, coming. So this is that insights dashboard we were seeing, and this is the process mining dashboard which we were seeing earlier. So Maestro allows you to do entire things. You start from modeling till the optimization. All of these steps you can do through Maestro. Okay, and it is quite flexible. You can have, as I said, you can have multiple steps. You can change the flow. You can at runtime you can change the fix the process and things like that. You can have multiple things. So lot of features there in Maestro. Okay, so use cases. This is the question which comes up, where I can use it. So pretty much many of the processes, like we took one procure to purchase, we did one, so that's a finance process. But pretty much in multiple sectors it can be used, your finance, insurance, manufacturing, telecom, and so on. Okay, and as UiPath says, agents think, robots do, people lead. So let your agents and robots do the work, and you do the better work, basically. All right, so pretty much multiple processes can be done through this process. This is a sample purchase to pay process. So you can have this multiple steps, and then you can have a RPA process pulling the orders, then a person reviewing that orders, then again a RPA process getting more details, again a reviewer, a human in the loop, and so on. And you can have suppose agents as well and things like that. So where in that process we had the automation, we can also have the agent as an underlying logic. Okay. All right. So any questions till now? Okay. All right. So I think we have pretty much covered what I wanted to do initially. But if there are any further questions, we can talk about. And yeah, yeah. Pretty much one more thing I can say is, suppose your process is pretty much standard, then you can submit it as a template, and then it will be available to everyone in the organization. So certain small features are there. Okay. Um, and then it will appear here, templates. So UI, and then yeah, of course you can also use certain predefined templates with UiPath. So you can have your custom templates developed for your particular organization, and you can also use out of the box templates over here. So just like we have for this is the templates from the studio, of course, but you can have, basically what happens is you navigate to Maestro, but from once you say start modeling, it actually redirects you to the studio web, and you are doing your development in studio web. So once you click on the start modeling, it is actually taking you to studio web. If you see on the top, it's saying studio designer, right? So you are doing your development in the studio web, then you are deploying it, and then you are running it, and then at runtime when you want to monitor and stuff, you are again switching to Maestro. So all of these products are interrelated with each other, kind of, because when you want to see your runtime steps and things, then you are coming here in the process instances and seeing the details and things like that. So um, that time you're so your development basically you're doing in the studio web, and then your monitoring and things like that you're doing in the Maestro basically. Okay. And yeah, and the other things are I think normal, like notifications if faulted and things like that, so that is fine. Okay, we have 10 minutes, but if there are any questions, feel free to go ahead and ask. And I think Suhani had to drop, but she put a survey link. In case you are interested for any other sessions, just fill the survey with Suhani has shared. Okay. All right. Any other questions from anyone? I hope it made sense and you could understand. Uh, if not, I'll just wait for 2 minutes in case someone has some parting questions or feedback or whatever. The recording for this link will be available on the page which you have registered in. It will come in a day or two. And feel free to connect with me. If you have joined late, let me share my QR code again. You can connect with me on LinkedIn as well. And if there is any follow-up question, if you're trying something, and of course there is UiPath forum for the questions, but if there's something specific where I can help you, or if you just want to connect and say hi or give any feedback, then feel free to connect with me as well. Okay, all right. Is there any question? No? All right, I'll take it as a no then. Thank you so much and have a good day, everyone, or good evening, rather. Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye.
Thanks, Vishal, for the session.
No problem. Thanks, Ishwinder. Bye bye.